Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're thrilled to have you on our live stream today. My name is Ross Shabilsky. I'm a game designer, and this is my wife.
Hi, my name is Kelly Shabilsky, and I contribute with D20 Studios and Summoner's Fate in the marketing capacity. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're super excited. We're thrilled. This Kickstarter project for us is just kind of the culmination of over 18 months of really hard work. We've been doing this now full-time, 80+ hours a week to get the game to where it is today. And we're really excited to have this opportunity to bring what we've put together so far in the community and give you guys all a chance to ask any questions that you may have. So that being said, we've actually got quite a few Q&A already listed. So I'm going to try and get this going here and just drop a question in. All right, so let's start with, here we go, show question audience. So Penny Janes asked, what gave you the most inspiration for Summoner's Fate? So Summoner's Fate was inspired by all of the favorite games that I had growing up. These include Warhammer, both fantasy and 40K. If you look behind us, you can actually see this is our massive collection of Warhammer miniatures that we've been doing for a long time.
Be careful, our nerd is showing.
Yes, very nerd showing. Actually, Kelly, if you duck a little bit, you can actually see that wing right there next to the monolith is actually Kelly's Hive Lord with custom wings that she painted.
It's my Tyranid army.
Yeah, we've been doing that since high school. We're actually both high school sweethearts, so we've known each other a very long time. And yeah, so Warhammer, Magic the Gathering is another game I'm hugely fond of, and then take into account also like tabletop board games like Hero Quest, classic game that it's kind of like a light D&D-esque type game. D&D itself is another inspiration. So yeah, the goal was kind of to take these different genres, which are all amazing games to play, and try and solve a problem for people in situations like myself, where now I have a job and I've got a family, and it's hard to get together with friends for hours on end to play these games. So I wanted to give an experience that would give people, you know, a way to play those kind of games and get that same kind of awesome experience in really short bite-sized windows. Or if you're a PC gamer, you know, you can jump on there and do it for longer sessions as well.
Excellent answer.
Thanks. All right, let's see. So that was the first question. All right, I'm gonna keep checking back in the chat. So if you guys want to throw a question in,
feel free to throw your questions in as well.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna go down the list then and see. Let's see, what's another good one here. All right, this is a really easy one. What technology are you using? Asked Tom Larkworthy. So Tom, we are using Adobe Air cross-platform compiler to create the game, so it runs on PC, Mac, Android, and iOS. On the server side, I'm going to be using a service called Player.io, which is awesome. It handles server-side scaling for you, so that'll be able to do our real-time multiplayer. And then I've written custom modifications before that allow us to do things like the asynchronous. I'm hoping to bring back a feature from Hero Mages, which was the async to real-time transition. And then we're also doing a really new feature with that called desynchronous multiplayer, which will let people play the game offline multiplayer, which I know sounds strange, but the way it works is you queue a list of opponents from the server and it downloads it to your device. And then when you go offline, you can play against them, and the AI will control their deck and their heroes. So you get the virtual feel of playing against those players by virtue of the AI taking their cards and characters and playing how they would play it.
I like it. It's like a pen pal gaming experience.
Yeah, yeah. How cool is that? You can play multiplayer while you're on an airplane. That's
sweet.
That's pretty sweet. So great question there. I'm going to check the chat again. No questions live yet so far. All right, so we're going to move on here. Excellent. Here's a question from Tempest. What role do backer-created characters play in the story? Oh, that is an excellent question. Okay, so the cool thing about the backer-created characters is that those are actually going to be discoverable characters in the game. So we've got all kinds of interesting ideas. One of the cool things about that reward tier is that those that create characters will actually get to talk with us one-to-one and kind of give us an idea of their backstory, where you'd like to see them. And then when we go to create the custom dungeons where you might encounter or be able to earn those characters, we'll have a little bit of a story in there. with that. The other cool thing is, just like other cards in the game, there'll be somewhat of a random system for just general card collection. So if you're one of the players who likes to just go and get the packs directly, there's always a chance that someone may discover a playable character and be like, yes.
Are you talking about the Fate Incarnate?
I'm talking, yes, the Fate Incarnate. That's the reward tier.
Yes. Yeah, that was really exciting because there's just something really cool about the fact that you can create a character that looks like you, or maybe looks like your loved one.
Yeah. We talked about that. Kelly's kind of thinking that, yeah, people could like get them for their boyfriend, their girlfriend, or their husband or wife as like a surprise.
You know, we talked about a pet. If you have a pet, you want to immortalize, however you want to do it. But I think that one's really exciting because not only do you get the card and the character that looks like you or however you wanted to design it, but now it's in the game. So Joe Smith in Montana may discover your car that you created, which is really fun and kind of cool.
Yeah.
Something really neat about that.
Looking back, a lot of my favorite games, if I had the opportunity, I could go back and have a custom Diablo class created after me, or a custom Hearthstone class or something like that. I think that'd be
awesome.
That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of what's entailed with that. There's all kinds of interesting ways we might tie into the story. It's all up to the person who's created the character, how they'd like to see that kind of vision come to the game, and we'll work with them to make it really, really special and fun. Great question. All right, let's keep scrolling the list here. Here's a great question. This one comes from Ryan. So the question is, thoughts on character progression? Okay, that's an excellent question, Ryan. So Summer's Fate is unique in the sense that while it is both a RPG, a tactics game, a collectible card game,
there's like a million hyphenates.
It's hard. We have a hard time describing.
Going. You know, on Twitter with my whatever it is, 180 characters, I just try to fit them all in.
Yes.
But continue with your multi-hyphenate adventure.
So progression for characters. We're doing something a little different. In the traditional RPG, you know, you have things like you get XP, you level up, and you unlock new powers. And with this game, I wanted it to be more focused on a natural player growth progression. It's not something that's, I guess I'll put it this way. In a lot of RPG games, if the system isn't woven into the fabric, like D&D is great. They have an excellent character progression that naturally goes into the storytelling, the level up, and your abilities. You grow with the story, right? And then in some other games I've played, the RPG mechanics are more or less like an artificial grind. Like it's a way to limit content so you can only move so fast, and it feels artificial, and you feel like you're doing work, with that, hence the term grind, to progress. And we don't want to do that. We want to make it feel like when you jump in this game, you're not having to work to get to the good stuff. You start with the good stuff, and the good stuff just keeps getting better. So to that end, progression works like this. You come in the game, you're going to have a set of characters that you begin with, and you're going to start off with some simple stories. And as you progress, you're going to get more cards that you can add to your collection just by playing the game, and then you'll be able to build your own custom decks and expand your strategy. We want the beginning experience to be completely enthralling. So you're not going to start off with like, weak Fireball 1 or anything like that.
Heck no.
You're going to get the full-on Fireball, blow up people, and it's great. And gravity spells are knocking people off the board, and you're going to be summoning monsters, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's always the worst part of a game. You know, you start a game and you're so weak, like Diablo. You're so weak, and you want to get to the good stuff, and then we want to just have that experience right away, that you're just jumping in and you're excited. We understand that it's subjective. For some people, orcs is the good stuff, and for some people, it's kind of our creepier characters like my Banshee that I created. And for other people, it's they really like the pets, the animals that they can play. So we've created a lot of opportunity to grow with the kind of characters that you want to see and that you want to have in the game, and or stay with what you have. We let you have those options. Absolutely, yeah.
So progression is you start with the initial set of awesome characters, and then you decide, am I going to be the guy that maximizes the orcs or the skeletons or the squirrel army, whatever it is that is your fancy.
We do love squirrels.
We do love squirrels. You'll have that option. Thanks for the question, Ryan. All right, let's keep going down the list. All right, so here we go. Oh. I'm glad someone asked. All right, Chris Sides asked, how many draw calls occur per frame? So this is a really geeky term, and if you're not familiar with the performance terms of games, draw call is one of those things that determines like how fast something can render, and it's how many times the GPU has to go back to the device and call it. More draw calls means you're going to have a slower performance, and your device is going to get hotter as you play.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, the idea is like if you could picture, they use this algorithm called the painter algorithm, where your GPU is basically like a palette of paints, and it's going to be working back and forth with the brush to take and dip the paint, go back, draw it on the screen, come back and dip it. And each time it has a draw call, it has to do that. It basically multiplies the number of times. So you get a really frantic painter, and hence really angry GPU and hot device, and burns your battery.
Hashtag angry GPU.
So this is something I'm really excited about. By virtue of some of the technologies I've created with our production pipeline, we've limited draw calls down to an average of one, which is the lowest you can have.
Oh,
so
sweet.
it's very exciting. There are exceptions when we're using some of the VFX and other things appearing on screen, but for probably about 98% of the time you're playing the game, it's one draw call. So that'll be very nice for your phone things. All right. So have you, let's see. Will Good asks, have you been contacted by any retailers, websites, or YouTubers? As a matter of fact, yes, we have. Not so many right now, but there are a few that are very excited and eagerly waiting an opportunity to play the game and do a review demo. So immediately following the Kickstarter, obviously our next high priority push goal is to get a extended version of the playable. Right now we have a demo that we've done pretty much just for testing the mechanics and core user interface, and we've been really refining that so that the feel of the game is just exceptional and easy to use. But it doesn't have a lot of content yet. So we've been holding off on the reviews and the YouTube streaming because we want to give them about an hour or two at least of unique playable content.
Right.
So that's kind of the key thing. But yes, and we are looking for more. So if you are a YouTube streamer, a retailer, or a review website, or you know them and would like to recommend them, we of course would very much appreciate that.
Definitely.
Excellent question. Okay, let's go down. This is awesome. The questions just keep coming in. All right, let's try, let's go down here. Oh, this is a great question. Okay, well, this is an easy one. Will there be multiplayer? Yes, there will. I think I answered that earlier, but for those just joining, 3 different modes: real-time, turn-based, back and forth; asynchronous, which is where you play offline. You take a turn, and it notifies your friend, and then you get to take your turn, and it notifies back until the game ends. And then, of course, the desynchronous, which I mentioned, is the offline multiplayer, where you can download a list from the server, and it will then store in your device, and you can play offline with the AI controlling your opponent's decks. Okay, here's a good one. What will success look like?
Oh, it's
an excellent question.
Philosophical. I like it. Good question.
Yes. Okay, so success to us is quantified by a number of things. The first and absolute most important one is that players enjoy the game.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Players enjoy the game is absolute number one most important thing. In fact, I refer back to our first game, Hero Mages, which you can see behind us. That's actually our original trade show board that Kelly and I would take to places like Gen Con. And
that thing weighs a ton,
and
by the way.
stand on our feet all day talking to fans. And
we loved it.
We loved it. And the most exciting part of that entire experience was the connections we made with people. Like, people really loved the game. It's been almost 10 years now. It's going to be coming up on a 10-year anniversary. Another couple of years. 2019, yeah, will be 10-year anniversary here, and there's still to this day folks that have invested over 2,000 hours in that game. They downloaded and reinstalled the app on their phone going forward.
And they're so wonderful. I mean, they're just great people. Just really great to chat with.
I remember the first time I opened up a server and had the multiplayer working. We had our first international game where I was playing with somebody from South America, Europe, and Australia, all on the same server. We were all talking. It was all different time zones. Somebody, it was 2 in the morning. I don't remember what time I was playing, but it was just incredible. We were all having this conversation and playing this game together. That was an incredible experience. And I really think that for me is the measure of like success and why I do this, is to share that passion with other players that also have the passion for these type of games, and to be able to just have a fun time with them. The other big measure of success, of course, would be the ability to create a sustainable revenue with our game and our business so that we can keep doing this for many years to come.
Absolutely.
And what makes Summoner's Fate unique as a project on Kickstarter is that this isn't something we're just launching to ship and release and then be done with. This is a game that from the beginning has been designed to run for a service of no less than 10 years. And we want to make this something where it's a hobby, you know, it's something to invest in. I look back again on all the miniatures I've collected over the years for Warhammer and my piles of Magic card I have that I've been playing again for even longer, and think that, you know, this is something that you invest in, that you enjoy, that you keep playing and you keep coming back to, because there's just something intrinsically motivating about the game and why it's exciting, and the people that you play with, the friendships you have. I mean, so that's our long-term goal. We want this to be a service.
You know, I read a quote recently. That said, "Quality is not about popularity. Quality is about longevity." And I think that's something we're striving for, is that definition of quality. We want to be in here for the long haul. We want to be part of your lives. We want to be part of the community, and keep it fun.
Yeah.
For a long time. Absolutely.
Very important. That's a great question. All right. Okay, let's see.
Make sure in the chat that everyone can still hear us.
Let me check in the chat. Okay, cool. Oh, very good.
Nice. Okay, good.
Nice collection back there.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
make sure no one's like, hey, we can't hear anything you're saying.
All right. Okay, will there be physical copies or just Steam, asked Will. I'm not quite sure. Oh, okay. So
like a disc maybe?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Will, if you want to go ahead and clarify that, that would help us out a lot. But I'm going to assume by physical copy, we can answer one of two ways. Physical copy as in like ship disc? Yeah, discs. Okay. No, we will not have any physical ship products. Key reason for that is just logistics. Any kind of physical shipping of products results in many more considerations in terms of how to get that to players, how to warehouse, how to inventory that. It's a whole type of new business we're just not equipped for as small indies. But there will be many ways to get your hands on the app.
I
Obviously,
like that. Get your hands on it.
Get your hands, or your
something very
virtual
tactile.
hand. Well, here, I guess if you hold your phone, it's kind of in your hands, right? Yeah. So the app stores, obviously, iOS, Android the game will be available. We're looking at the Steam marketplace. I know that almost the majority of players are on Steam, and we want to make that a part of it so that it integrates with their SDKs and systems as well. Obviously, we're looking at other third-party options as well. Some people might like other stores or prefer other ways of getting a hold of it. So we're welcome to that kind of feedback. And if you guys have suggestions or other ideas about where and how you'd like to access the game.
In television.
In television, yeah. We're going to make those old cartridges.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Retro.
Indeed.
I think we had I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, let's see. Josh Jones, you may want to ask questions over on the Q&A tab and make sure that they see them.
Thanks, Josh.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right.
I like this one. I saw something. Wait, that wasn't. Hold on. I saw something about. I saw something exciting.
Find your question.
Yes, there it is.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll let you answer this one.
Thanks, Tom.
Excellent question.
The question is, does game development strain your marriage? I'm half thinking of recruiting my wife too. I say do it. I say thumbs up.
Oh, I'm so glad you answered that.
I mean, let's be frank. It's not the simplest thing in the world. Every single day, every single hour to work with your spouse or your significant other. That being said, I actually think we've been having a blast. If I'm gonna be to be honest with you, I think I would say make sure if you're looking at a spouse or significant other, Ross has done a really great job in not being the micromanager that I know we've all experienced. He has not been a micromanager at all, and he's kind of let me come into my own, into a role that I actually wasn't familiar with. My background, I majored in psychology in college, and I worked in recruiting. So marketing, social media, this wasn't my forte per se to start with, but Ross was really patient with me and just said, go with it. When I would come with an idea, say, run with it, have fun, So I think, Tom, to answer your question, if you're going to be recruiting your wife or anybody out there looking to recruit a significant other or a friend, just make sure they feel comfortable in the role. Communication is key. Ross and I, as you can probably tell, we talk a lot. We're big talkers. So talking through things, making sure we're on the same page is going to be really important. And then Tom, specifically, I would say make sure you're often complimenting your wife's effort. And Ross does a wonderful job of that. So, you know, I would say that really does help. Same as you would do at a workplace. If you were the manager and you had somebody working for you, you want to make sure that they felt heard and that they got to be creative. So I say thumbs up. I mean, honestly, it's been pretty great for us. We've been really enjoying it.
It's great.
So
it's my dream. I've always wanted this to happen, and I don't know how I got lucky enough for it to happen. But I got to say one thing in particular that's just amazing about Kelly is that.
And I'm getting red. The Irish is coming out.
Having her doing the marketing and using her unique creativity and perspective has been just mind-blowingly awesome. I mean, just a couple of key things. So she is die-hard consistent. One of the hardest things about marketing is having a constant dialogue, and she is there 24/7, multiple posts a day on multiple channels, trying to reach as many people as possible. So that is already a huge thing because it is virtually impossible to both develop and also have that kind of reach. She's pulling me in. So if there's questions about the game that she can't answer, she pulls and draws my attention.
Yeah, I do pull them in a lot. In case anybody was wondering, a lot of the times you are talking to Ross. A lot of what I do is create like the posts. You know, I put them together. But when there's questions, especially technical questions or, you know, really game related questions.
Yeah.
You're talking to this guy, not so much me, but I do alert him a lot.
She does.
It goes, Ross, you can ask this question. This person's so cool.
It's awesome. And that's cool because I mean, I would not be able to have that kind of attention to watch all these things. She's always telling me so I can get on there right away and answer questions. It's a sign of how we want to have our service run too. So if you have any doubts about what the games would be like when it launches, just go back and look at our Facebook over the last 12 months and really see that there is a post there every single day on Twitter, every day on TIG forums. I mean, it's like clockwork, and that's how you can expect the game service to run as well. We're not going to abandon this after Kickstarter with the big "where did they go?" question, and we're actually kind of bewildered because we've looked at a lot of other projects and are surprised at how many there are, and we can understand why people might be averse to backing projects like this because of that kind of risk it brings. But
and if anything else, you know, this is a little personal, but the fact that Ross and I have been together for 19 years just shows you a little bit about our loyalty. So we're very loyal. We are nerds at heart, and we love talking to other people and bringing kind of this positive environment and community together. So we'll be there.
One more thing, because I just can't stop talking about good things about you. The creativity of her post. I mean, like,
red.
She asks me all the time, like, you know, honey, does this look like something a gamer would like? You know, she puts together comics, and it's great because I look at the stuff comes up with it would never be something I can come up with in terms of like is this interesting for marketing?
Are you talking about my pitchfork?
The pitchforks, yeah, like dragons with pitchforks. I mean, that's hilarious. I think it's funny. I hope you think it's funny, and I mean, it's just a unique form of creativity, a perspective I never would have had on my own, and that she brings to the table. And I hope that you and the community enjoy these kind of posts. Like, you should let her know, because she spends a lot of time brainstorming, coming up with these things, making them. And I personally really love the creativity and the funniness of the comics and the emails that go out twice every month. So let us know, let her know that she's doing a good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Next question.
Okay. Here's a great one. Adam asks, so what does the future of Summer's Fate look like for you? E.g., what does the environment look like 2 years down the road? That's a great question, Adam. 2 years down the road, all right, well, we want to have a bustling community of activity. We want to have bustling, yeah, bustling. That's a good word. I guess bustling. So one of the big things we're working on right now, and I'm hoping to roll this out today, is going to be our community forums, because if there's one place I can point to that was a hub of activity and interest and player discussion, and it was our Hero Mages forum. So I'm just about finished with that, getting it up there, and we're hoping to launch that today. It's going to have a lot of fun discussion topics. It's a great way to meet other players. You'll have so much fun because everyone on there is nerds like all of us. We all like this kind of geeky stuff, and we love talking about and sharing our passion, showing our badges of honor of which games we played. So that's kind of like the first step. And then 2 years down the road, we want to be in a place where the player-driven development, the community-driven development is sort of interwoven. Like I want to be able to say that the D20 studios can do things that no larger company can do. So what does that look like? I mean, I would like to see player-generated content. At some point, have the tools, the ability, the means for players to create their own levels, content, stories, and adventures, as if you were dungeon masters playing this in a virtual realm. You could actually have and act it out and create your own campaigns and D&D people. I mean, that would be an awesome kind of cool goal. I mean, guilds, clans of players getting together and having some kind of shared focused, persistent parts of the world where you could conquer and evolve them. I mean, there's so many possibilities for what this could turn into with the power of a community that's passionate behind it, and we just want to hear those ideas and make it happen for you guys. Excellent question. I'm gonna check the chat real quick and make sure there's nothing coming over here. Okay, great. Let's keep going here. Let's see.
I said a question about your beard.
Oh, okay, that's a fun one. What's
that?
All right, show questions to the audience. I like your beard. What products do you use? It's just kind of random. All right, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the beard is new. I felt
newish.
Newish. It's
this is the indie dev beard.
Yeah.
That is obligatory.
The obligatory indie dev beard. Yeah, I've been clean shaven pretty much my entire life, and there's just something about what, I'm doing indie games now. I have to have a beard. It's just the thing you do. So
I think actually you went to bed. You woke up the next morning and it was there because you decided you were going to be
pretty much. It takes about 2 days to grow the beard. So yeah, I use a beard oil and a boarhead brush to groom it each day, and it keeps it nice and kept. And Kelly got me a nice razor trimmer thing that does the nice cutting, so it stays in shape. But yeah, there's the beard story. Great question. Thanks for the interest in my beard.
Beards.
Oh, that was pretty fun. Okay, let's see here. That one has no question in it. Okay. Oh, here's a great one. Okay, so another question from Tom. He asked, how long does it take to draw and animate each character? That is a fantastic question.
If I was doing it at like 10 years.
10 years.
Fortunately, I am not doing it.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know how long it would take me to do it.
You would be better.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have there's an interesting story to the pipeline, actually. So we have a team, an outstanding team that we've been working with since 2009. They are called Ore Studios. They are based in Indonesia, and they are absolutely fantastic. And what's awesome about them is that we get pretty much exactly what we envision and what we want with minimal description. You got to have a good vision of what you want to describe it. We'll give them images, basically a collage of a bunch of different games that we've been inspired by, and say we want something that kind of captures elements from each of these like 20 different things in a collage. And then they take and create concept sketches. We provide feedback. Hard to peg the exact number of hours. I think in terms of actual draw time to create the sketch, create the full color is probably somewhere between 4 to 5 hours, I would guess, roughly. For the drawing part, but the process is longer due to the feedback cycle. We typically get, an actual character cycle might take a month or two in terms of time because they're working on multiples at once. We're getting feedback in the process. So then the animation question is great. We have a local animator here. His name's Peter Jones. He does an amazing job creating the character animations in the game. And what's cool about it is that the animations are not necessarily specific to a particular character. He animates on this really optimized production cycle we created that uses templates to be able to have other characters inherit animation. So if we want to give a character an animation from something else, we can just select it from our in-house tool, which is pretty cool. And actually, I have a very in-depth video. So if you are interested in this kind of thing or looking to make games or just want to know more about our process, I'm going to post this in our chat room here and see if this works. So this will be the AAA production pipeline.
Sorry, laughing at the comments
for
from
indies.
Somebody in our Q&A.
Paste that, and boom. So there is a link for it. It's a really great video. It's about 8 minutes long, I think, that goes through our entire process, what it takes to make a character, starting with a pencil sketch all the way through to full integration in the game. So you can kind of get an idea of how that process works and some of the technology we've created to do that. Great question. You learned it from me how to grow the beard. Yes, thank you, Chris. All right, let's go into the back to the Q&A here and see if we've got any questions.
Does that say selfies?
Selfies. I'm not sure what a selfie is. Yeah, selfies. Turn off selfies. I'm not sure. Maybe selfies is a feature for you guys. If you want to send a picture and say, "Hi, we're hailing from New York," I don't know what that feature does, but if you want to be the first one to experiment, go for it. We would be interested to see what that does. Okay, so let's see here. We want to do. We answered this question already. Yeah, this is a great question. It's kind of a personal one, I guess. What would you be doing if you weren't making games? Well, when I'm not making games in the
last couple of weeks, the only time we're not making games is eating, I guess, and sleeping.
Eating and sleeping. That's right. I guess even then I'm making games is a real determinant. But
in general,
no, we like to just spend time together with family. Kelly and I really like to. We have kind of our rituals we do every day. We have our coffee together in the morning. And we usually like to go for a walk or a run or a bike ride or something at some point in the day to get away from the desk and feel alive. We've got 2 little kids, a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, and we like to spend our time just being with them and doing kind of fun adventures and taking them out for things when we can. So those are really the big things that we would do, just kind of family focused and spend time with our loved ones and things like that. Okay. Let's see if we got any questions here. Okay, here's another question. All right, so Will asks, so is this going to be browser-based? Okay, excellent question. The answer to that is no, and the reason for that is that the technology we are using, Adobe Air, which also translates to Flash, if you're doing the web publication, will no longer be supported in browsers starting in 2020. So we've opted out of trying to develop an in-browser version with that code, and instead focus purely on the runtime executable. So that means full install packages. So you'll have an optimized package that's for PC. If you're playing on Mac, you'll get a Mac executable specific to your system, and you'll download the client, and then from there you'll have access to the game. And the clients are free to play, so there won't be any cost to enter the game. You'll be able to play for free as long as you want via the downloads. Okay. All right, Chris Sides asks, have you guys thought about doing a Patreon? Actually, no, surprisingly, that has never occurred to us. But if that actually could be an interesting follow-up to the Kickstarter, perhaps. I'm familiar with it because we do watch a lot of YouTube shows. In fact, that's probably our favorite form of TV now. If you want to talk to me about things like cryptids and aliens and all kinds of other weird things, Kelly's got her own favorites that she likes to watch. Jerry, if you want to share any of those.
I watch a lot of CinemaSins. And what's the Screen Junkies show? The trailer Honest Trailers. Yeah, I watch a lot of those.
Yeah, so that's interesting because those guys, it never occurred to me, but they're all mostly funded entirely by the Patreon system, where people just sort of subscribe and say, I would like to have this level of service continue, and here's a way of helping you. So that's a great suggestion. I'll put it up there on our forums, and maybe we could talk about that. And if enough people, think that would be a great way to kind of continue support the development while we're still kind of going full time here on savings. Yeah, I would definitely take me up on that.
I mean, ramen noodles are tasty.
They are. Ramen noodles, mac and cheese. You get used to these things. Yeah. Okay, great. So we get another question from Will. What advice do you have for people making their own Kickstarters? That's a great question. So the number one advice I have is to talk to other developers that have made Kickstarters. If I could say, like, the one top thing I've had about the Kickstarter experience has been my time meeting other developers. I do a shout out to a few of these folks in our 5 tips video on Kickstarter. The Iron Oath team that recently had a very successful project back in August, and then recently the Fellseal team. Both these guys were ex-EA devs like myself, and I learned a tremendous amount from them, both in terms of where and how to market, which channels were effective for them, and also just looking at their Kickstarter presentation. That's really important to put together a quality presentation. You don't want to just throw something up there. You want to take time to make something that's special and speaks to the game. We did a lot of really custom UI. That was kind of the big thing that we saw from a lot of other really good Kickstarters. So our reward packages, obviously, we spent a lot of time creating those and really thinking about what would be something that would resonate with players and make those a highlight of the feature. The trailer, hugely important.
I was just thinking of the trailer because that was some intense work that we did to really make sure that the trailer captured, you know, the awesomeness of the game. So there was a lot of sleepless nights. Ross looks like he's pulling up his 5 tips for launching your game on Kickstarter video.
I'll try and play as well. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm going to copy this link.
Hey,
in
this
there
was videotaped in this very room.
It was, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in there for that question. This is our 5 tips for Kickstarter video. And if you haven't seen this already, this is a great, very comprehensive list of kind of some of the things that we did to prepare for Kickstarter, how much time was involved, and things like that. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in starting a Kickstarter project. All right. Let's take a look at the Q&A here and see if we've got any more questions we have not answered yet. You know what? I'm going to try and answer this question from Tom. It's an interesting question. So Tom asked, what metrics are or will you optimize? I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I can speak to it from a metrics for success from perspective of kind of what we're looking to achieve in terms of.
Ross enjoys talking about metrics.
Yeah,
he's a numbers guy.
I do like numbers and data. So kind of the things we look at in terms of like what would be a successful launch for us. We have a very particular number we need to hit with that, and that number, quite honestly, is 150,000 downloads in the first 30 days. Would almost ensure our success as a company and give us the ability to sustain continuous revenue. So why that number in particular, and how do we come up with that? We use a number of techniques called game forecasting. I have an article on that as well. I'm not going to try and search for it because it's a little bit probably buried by now, but I will go ahead and post it as a follow-up if you guys are interested in learning how to do game forecasting. But what 150K downloads in the first 30 days translates to is roughly a pattern of success that would show ideally 11,500 players active daily is the size audience we need to be at a place where we can sustain our business and continue making the game. So to give context, some people have come up to us and said, you know, how are you going to succeed as free-to-play game indie developers when the top games that are out there require 2 million plus audience size to do so, because roughly only 1% of players are actually spending money on the game. And my response to that is that the story is very different for niche titles like ours. We're not trying to be Clash of Clans or Candy Crush Saga or any of the top very easily accessible games. We are trying to be something that's very customized for a very particular player that has very deep interest in tactics, which is not a mass genre by any means. Collectible card games, again, which narrows it down.
But a great genre.
Yeah, absolutely great genre. And of course, role playing. So you got those three, and the pie gets smaller in terms of how many people this game actually appeals to. It's very, very small. But if we can get a lot of those players, we can actually do quite well with a small audience. And we actually like it that way, because what's great about that is we can custom tailor the experience precisely to what that player group is looking to have in this game. It's not going to be a generic mobile game that looks like or feels like anything else you've ever played. This is a game that is made from the ground up for you, and we want to continue that development with it. So that's kind of our key metrics: 150K downloads, 11.5 daily active players, and with that, we can go well into the future of making this game an amazing experience for you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to point out, you know, we love your help with that. You know, obviously the people that are watching this are interested, enjoy this genre, enjoy this hybrid of a lot of different elements. And certainly I'm sure you know others who do as well, whether they're literally in your social, you know, in real life circle, at game nights or different things like that. Or if you're on forums, if you're part of different groups online, you know, spread the word. Tell them that we're here. I mean, that would be fantastic for us to make sure that, you know, a game like this gets in the eyes and hands of everybody that's looking for a game like this, because I can't tell you how many times people have told Ross and myself, you know, I've been looking for a game like this. This is exactly what I've been searching the App Store for, or you know, the Play Store. You're just looking, you know, Steam, looking for something like this. and we're here to provide.
So, kind of on that note, I actually have a question for you guys, and I'm hoping you can answer it in the chat channel for me. So, if you're comfortable answering, I would just love to know, Kelly and I both, how did you find out about Summoner's Fate? What brought you here today? Just go ahead and shout it out. It was just I was on Kickstarter today, and I just happened to see this. It looked kind of cool.
My husband introduced it to me, so that's my story.
I got into these kind of games way back years ago. Watching my older brothers play. Chris Side says, a good friend of mine showed me. Ah, that's excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. That
sounds like a really good guy.
Sounds like a great guy.
Yeah.
That's the number one answer I'd love to hear. My friend showed me. Nothing is better for a game developer than for somebody else, a friend, to recommend your game to them. That is the most powerful sign of that you're doing something well.
I know when I have a friend or a family member that I trust or that has same interests as me tell me to try something, whether it's a movie, a game, a shampoo. I mean, whatever it is, as long as it's something that you trust that has similar interests to you. I mean, that's really powerful. That's more powerful than, the millions of ads that you see every day.
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard to stand out, but a personal recognition from a friend is really powerful. Anyone else would like to share how you found us or how you stumbled upon Summoner's Fate? And we're just curious as to how we're doing at reaching our fans. And
well, let us know.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our question. So if you want to answer it, feel free. Okay. Let's see. Is there any other ones we have left here that we haven't answered? I'm just going to go through and see if there's any new ones. Okay. I'm just going to answer that original question. And we've got. I think I've answered where you get the idea for Summoner's Fate. And how long have you been? Oh, this is a pretty easy one. I'll answer this one. So how long have you been creating games? I started, I guess professionally, I would consider it to be May of 2006. And that was with the creation of Hero Mages, not as a digital game, but as a tabletop board game. And spent roughly about a year, or slightly over a year.
Do you still have that box?
We do.
Is it in the closet?
We actually, I have.
Should we whip? Should I go
whip
it?
Oh, you got it. You got it. Okay.
I'll go with
the cards are right up there on the shelf. If you want to pull that down.
Is that this thing?
Yeah, that's that thing there. We can showcase these. Yeah, I figured I'd show these. A lot of people have been curious about like our board game roots. Darlene, the map, the board is right up there too.
Oh, and I found this.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So. This is the original title of the first game, Battle Mages. I decided not to use it because of concerns over an existing game having this title, but that was the original idea of the game, Mages Battling. Here's a couple of things that were very early on. I was, these are some cards that I created for the game, and they kind of look like magic cards, but with some vector art. I actually created all the art for this too, which is kind of fun. These are the original spell cards for Hero Mages that we used back in the day to play test. They had pictures of miniatures on them that I painted and stats and things like that. So all of this was fun. Photoshop, using Adobe Acrobat to print cards. It is really hard to print cards front and back on cardstock, by the way. So if you're going to do it, just be prepared that you're going to have issues with them not lining up exactly. And that's
is this the right thing?
That's the right thing. If you want to show the board.
I actually never knew what this was. It was up there.
Yeah, I just keep mail tubes for no reason on top of our display.
You never know.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so here it is. This is the original Tactics battle board. It's made of a, I don't know quite, some kind of vinyl-like
definitely vinyl
material. It's pretty durable, but this was our original prototype for Hero Mages. We took this thing to Gen Con. We played with players. Did we? I thought we did. Cool. Well, definitely comic stores. That was where we kind of got our start.
Stores,
yeah, a lot of comic stores is where we got our start. So, yeah, it was about a year and a half of doing that before I went digital. And it was actually a good friend of mine that pushed the digital thing. My friend Tor, he said to me, "You got to really, take your programming skills and make this into a game." And I was so skeptical about my ability to do it, and he just kept pushing me every day with emails and giving me little challenges. And eventually, I bit. And just spent. I remember it was like actually like a Father's Day weekend. I spent out there. Everyone else was like having fun. I was writing down an algorithm to figure out how to do line of sight on the computer, and that was, to this day, the hardest thing I've programmed is the line of sight algorithm. It is very tricky. It uses something called the Bresenham line algorithm, in case you're curious. But yeah, that was a major
Is that gonna be on Jeopardy?
legal scratcher. Yeah. All right. I think that's all the questions I have here. Let me just go ahead and check and see if there's any more questions in the chat channel. Oh, cool. We do. We have a few.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Yuri.
Yuri, welcome to the channel.
Hello there.
Curious if you have any questions, because we are just about through our list, and if you'd like to ask us anything at all about Summoner's Fate, about what it's like to be a indie dev, about what it's like to work with your wife on making games, we would be happy to answer your questions while we are on the air here. No pressure, of course.
I'd like to answer a question that we've been asked, not here, but we've been asked before. Some people have asked us, why is the word Summoner's Fate lacking an apostrophe? And I understand where that comes from, because I am also quite into proper English and what is that, a possessive, I don't know, whatever it is.
I don't know the terms.
But the point is, this was actually a pretty good debate that we had in our office one day, and technically, yes, it should be Summoner's Fate with an apostrophe, although exactly where, whether it was going to be plural or singular.
Yeah, where do you put the apostrophe?
But there should have been an apostrophe. Let's clarify. I actually put the kibosh on the apostrophe, I would definitely say, because my maiden name had an apostrophe, and which weirdly made it more complicated than Shabilsky, our current last name. And the problem with the apostrophes is, you know, people add them to emails and websites and weird places. With my maiden name, you know, sometimes they'd add the apostrophe, sometimes they'd leave a space, sometimes they didn't have it at all. So you never quite know what you're going to get with an apostrophe. So for those of you who see Summoner's Fate and just that lack of apostrophe itches at your somewhere in your spine, I understand and I feel you, but please do, you know, stick with us. We did leave it out for a reason, and
it's weird. I think we spent like a good half a day
discussing
that.
It was a big discussion.
It was a weird fact about the game for sure. All right, let's check the Q&A again. See if we've got any new questions here from anybody. Any new questions? No? Okay. Anything else we want to kind of say here about the game?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would absolutely, you know, insofar as our Kickstarter, I'm not sure where we're at currently, but as of this morning, you know, we were kind of on our way to about 90% funded, which is just absolutely amazing. And we are so grateful, and literally, you know, I think I skippity-doo around the house that there's you know, people out there that are really believe in us and really, really passionate about this project like we are. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We are extremely grateful.
Thank you so much
for all the support that we've had. If you're kind of on the fence and you have any other questions about, you know, you want to support us, but you're concerned about X, Y, Z, ask us. We're very, very open. You know, there's nothing we're trying to really hide or anything. So certainly ask us if you have any questions about if you're looking to support but you're not sure about something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and you know, in general, if you have any questions throughout the process, we're very open. But I would absolutely like to say thank you and talk a little bit about our Kickstarter. We have some really exciting rewards. If you've seen our Hellhound puppy GIF, you know, with his little mouth and his little tail, I'm an animal lover.
If you're an animal guy, he's definitely
cute.
Adorable.
He's really cute. So certainly take a look. That's one of our reward options that's on there, and you'll see a GIF of him on there. You can actually own your Hellhound puppy, and you can name it.
The name is exclusive, by the way. I should point that out, because like a lot of the cards on there are things that, of course, you can collect over time in the game, but they're going to be a huge advantageous to have them at the beginning of the experience, and have a set of them that's combined to be effective together is really key with those.
Right, like our orc, we have an orc battle barrel. Yeah. We have a skeleton crate, and then we also have our dreadnoughts, which are really popular. People love them. Our dreadnought chest that we have as well. So those come with not only 3 characters, but then also I believe it's 2 cards that all kind of tie together. So for our strategy lovers out there, you know, being able to have these and kind of plan your strategies with buffs and you know, different things like that, because you have them all together. I always love that kind of thing.
That's huge.
So we have those kind of options out there. We talked about our Fate Incarnate, which is when you can create yourself in the game, have your own character or a character in a design that you would like. Again, you know, spouses, significant others.
I want to address the elephant in the room about this. So there's something very unique about our Kickstarter. I don't know if anyone's noticed it yet, but we are one of few, if any, game project that I've seen so far that does not actually offer the game as reward. And it's the number one thing I go to when I go to back a game, particularly like a board game style thing, is, which one's got the game? That's the one I'm starting at. That's the one I go to. And that's what's unique about us. We are a game that will be free to play at launch. So there's no way we could conceive of when we start talking about rewards is what would the reward be? It can't be the game because everyone gets it. It wouldn't mean anything. So the game is free. You get that whether you want to pledge or not. So why support us? Why pledge us? And that's where we started thinking creatively outside the box of like, what would be really cool things that you could do right now that you could never do else at any other point in the game. And yeah, so that Hellhound thing was cool. He's a character that in the game is a rare creature, very hard to find. You've got to go through a crazy mission of fighting off demons and other things to have a chance at finding one. But
have you seen the Demon Lord? He's got a big hammer.
Yeah, there's a whole thing with the Hellhound. That was actually a huge brainstorm discussion we had one day about what would be an interesting, weird thing to have in the game. We were talking about these vicious creatures and demons and stuff, and then it's like, yeah, but they have like these little puppies that when they're born, they're just like cute for some reason, and that seemed funny. So the exclusive in Kickstarter is that not only do you get the Hellhound puppy, but you get to name him, and the name you choose for him will be on the card and visible to other players so they can see. If you want to name him after a favorite pet or something like that, that's a unique feature that is exclusive and not something you can do otherwise in the game.
Another exclusive character that we have on there, and this is quite exclusive, is our Kickstarter only Gold Dragon. So dragons are really important to Ross and I, especially Ross. I mean, they've been something that Ross has loved forever, and we know a lot of you love dragons, and why not? I mean, they're majestic.
My dragon collection back there.
Well, those are
the snuggle stuff.
Those are obviously bought by somebody.
They've been there for a while, and then there's other miniature dragons.
Sure. In fact, around our house, we have a lot of dragons. We have a giant dragon fan in our room. We have all kinds of dragons all around our house. But the point is, so we're going to have great collection of dragons in the game, because not only do we want dragons, but we also really enjoy having flying creatures, because a lot of games don't offer that. So anyways, get back to my point, we do have a Kickstarter only Gold Dragon. So this character will only be available during this Kickstarter. I know we've had a good amount of people already kind of snatch that one up, and it's really, I mean, this is it. This is the only time we're going to be offering it. So certainly that's a great option. And he's really, really cool.
Yeah. We're starting to see some of the art coming back, and it's just really, really
better
cool.
than we could have thought of. So he's definitely something that's, really cool. And honestly, once a one of a kind. And speaking of one of a kind, if you want to segue into our Decider of Fate.
Oh yeah. So this was a really fun one that Kelly. It was actually Kelly's idea. She had this notion of, if you put something out there and just give something to tantalize people in terms of a mystery, right? So you want to talk a little bit to that? Kind of like what
I know that I really enjoy. I mean, what do we love about things like, I don't know, holidays, Christmas? It's that mystery. And so we do have an award. I believe we call it the Decider of Fate is what we decided on. It's an exclusive, legendary,
mythic. Like mythic in the sense that there is only one.
There literally
only will ever be
that's
one
what it
of
is.
This card.
There's only one of this card. Some people have asked us, well, hey, whoever has that card's just gonna always win in the game. That's not necessarily true. It is a powerful card. It's not well, if I have this card, I'm going to win every game, and ha ha ha. But it is a very powerful card, and it's the only one. Even Ross and I will never have this card. And it's really neat. It's really neat. So that is one of our options as well, the one of a kind. Not only that, I believe we gave, it would be the name of your exclusively made for, and your name will be on the card as well.
The title, we do a lot of things with kind of, we're creative with our word choices and things. People have asked us what it is, but I would say, if you're interested in thinking about what could be, I mean, we like to represent story in really cryptic ways. And the names we choose for things are always intentional and always meaningful. Decider of Fate is more than, it applies to the game. Decider of Fate, you could pretty much end the Kickstarter right now and we'd be set to go and have our project funded with that reward. But more than that, in the game, the person that is the owner of that card is now notoriously known as that, and with good reason. So. And
the card is related to fate as well.
Something about that, maybe.
I'm dropping too many hints.
All right. So one other key thing that a few folks have asked us about the reward tiers, because not every Kickstarter does this, but a lot of the rewards offer things like customization, the ability to design a custom car, a custom equipment, a custom character. And so some folks have asked us, well, if I get the, for example, the what's the one called, the decider, not the decider of fate, the avatar of fate, what is it called, incarnation of fate.
Fate incarnate.
Fate incarnate. That's it. Yes. So that one comes with obviously the ability to design your own character, your own card. What may not be obvious about that, because other Kickstarters don't always do this, is that it includes every reward below it as well. So if you get, if you choose that reward and get to design your custom character, you also get on top of that, you get to pick their weapons, pick their things they have, but then you still get to design a spell card or weapon card, whichever those two you want. You get all the other rewards underneath it. If you're doing the one that gets to design a custom boss, you actually get to design, I believe, 3 cards, which is 1, the legendary boss character, which you get to have as well. 2, your own avatar character. 3, your own weapon / thing, and it just kind of goes from there. So
I mean, your mark will be on this game.
Yeah, basically you get to be a celebrity. We're gonna roll out the red carpet for you. We're gonna do all that kind of fun stuff. You're gonna get to be part of the design team and be credited as such. I mean, that's the other cool thing. You get to say, I was a designer in this game, and you will in fact be a designer.
Absolutely.
When we're done with you.
And then how about if we talk a little bit about the early access tier as well?
Yes. Okay. So a lot of folks have asked that too. Some people have said to me, like, I don't understand the beta. $50, it seems like a high cost of entry. And to that, I would say, the spirit of the Kickstarter is not about pre-sales for us. It's not about here's a chance to get the game or buy the game in advance. That's not what our goal is. Our goal is an open invitation to community to be a part of this with us. And what that level of support to us says is that you're committed. You want to be a part of this. You want to be invested in the creation. You want more than just, I want to play test the game ahead of everybody else. That's not, we're looking for the kind of like people that say, I want to have a mark on this game. I want to have a say over what gets created and what direction developers take. And to that end, we are committed to having live, pretty much 24/7 communication open throughout the entire
I've got
period.
my coffee, so I can 24/7.
Leading up to launch, we're going to have a forum set up. So if live chat's not for you and you want to communicate there, we'll communicate there. But we are very responsive. You can see it on our Facebook page. We've got the rapid response badge in terms of back and forth.
And I even want to say, if you were to Google Ross Shabilsky, you'll actually find some old articles. I did this recently. I Googled you.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Google for
I'm
my
creepy
life.
like that. But there's even old articles written about Ross when he was developing Hero Mages, where people talked about like how amazing he was at getting back to them, how he was one of the few developers I've ever experienced who was committed to making sure, like, if there was any issues they had or whatnot, to make sure that they were getting the game going so they could. I think at this time it was like a reviewer looking to review it. They had said, wow, he was very committed to making sure that I had everything I needed to be able to review this game, and I really appreciated that. So go ahead. Feel free to Google Ross. Super creepy. Although have fun with the spelling.
I have a very personal belief when it comes to service and support in games too. And I speak of this as a player who's played a lot of games, and I enjoy a lot of games. I've spent a lot of money myself in mobile games and PC games as well. And nothing burns me more when I have a problem with the game and I call for support and I have to go through this like excruciating survey to validate who I am, that I've actually spent money in the game so they actually can tell if they want to care about me or not. And then after all that's said and done, to be told, sorry, there's nothing we can do. And I'm just like, but I don't understand,
Right.
But
I'm still here on the phone.
I just feel like for all the trouble you go through to trying to authenticate someone, it's easier just to say, you know what, thank you for reaching out. I'm really sorry you had a problem. What can I do to help you? And if it's going to take, XYZ card bonuses or currency or packs or exclusives, I almost always respond to Hero Mage's support emails with, here is a code that unlocks everything. Have a nice day. And usually that makes people feel pretty happy. And you know what? They're playing and telling their friends, and that makes me happy. So, that's what I believe when I say support of the game is. It's about making the player happy. It shouldn't be something that you have to feel guilty about or feel upset about or dread trying to contact support. It's not. You're not going to have to wait more than a couple hours tops to get a response from us.
I'd like to ask you a question because this has come up a lot.
Yeah.
And I know we just peeked at the Q&A, but a lot of people have mentioned, is this play to win? Or specifically, because I've just learned the vernacular, P2W.
P2W. Yeah.
We've gotten that question a lot.
I'm actually surprised that no one's asked that question. Yeah. So no, it is not. Pay to win by definition is as such. It means that in order to get access to the most powerful type things in the game, you have to enter a premium tier where either you spend so much in the game you have to be a VIP player, or you literally have to spend money to buy a pack or set of random cards that allows you to get the higher tier cards. That's what pay to win is. You have to pay to get the cards that will help you win. We are not that. A true free-to-play game will allow you to earn everything in the game by normal gameplay at a fair rate of pace without blocking you with we call them pinch points in the industry or places where you get stuck and can't progress unless you name money. That's not going to happen in our game. We're not about that. We believe that it should be entirely free. And so it kind of begs the question: well, why would somebody want to buy cards in the game or invest in the game? To that
people ask us how we're going to eat. We've had that.
How are you guys going to eat? That plan doesn't make any sense. It's too good to be true. And how does it work? Well, it does work, and it works on a system of people who enjoy something and like spending time in it want to support the thing that they enjoy spending time in. Some players want to play and earn them all, just by playing the game. That's fine. Other players like myself maybe want to play a little bit, have fun, but I kind of like to game the system. My personal way to play games is I like to half grind and half pay, and I like to find ways to maximize that. Like, what can I do to add a few cards here and there quickly, and then get the thing I need, then build the strategy I'm going for, then game the system. That's how I like to play. I like to show those developers, like, I figured out your game and I can get the most cards just doing this, this, and this. But ultimately, if I like it, I'm going to take an invest in it because it's fun, and it's I've got my choice between playing this or something else, and heck, my time's going here. I might as well invest my dollars here too, and that's kind of how I see it working. And I think there's other players out there that believe that too. Like, look at the collection behind me. I can play Warhammer with literally a starter set. They're not seeing the starter set. Yeah.
We have 5 IKEA shelves.
5 IKEA shelves full of miniatures.
They are full top to bottom.
Top to bottom.
You can see it all.
Yeah. You can play a game like Warhammer with the starter box, and you can win with the starter box. There's no power pay to win in that game either. But why do people buy it? Because the collecting is fun, and it makes the game more diverse. It makes your strategy.
I know. I still have my Sisters of War. I have to make.
That's right.
There's still more buried in that closet.
Got work to do. So there's the answer to that question. We're just at the hour mark now, so I would just go check and make sure there's not any other burning questions left in the audience. It looks like we have done a good job here answering all your guys' questions. So that being said, if you guys have any follow-up questions afterward you'd like to ask us, please leave a comment in the Kickstarter. Reach out to us on Facebook. Reach out to us on Twitter. Reach out to us on TIG Forum. Reach out to us on Imgur. Reach out to us on, you get the idea. We're everywhere. We're all over the web. And even
our website. I mean, you can even reach out to contact@d20studios.com. I mean, even if that's the most basic.
Email, you'll get a response in about 5 seconds. I check that right away. So thank you so much, really. This has been a great opportunity.
It's been a lot of fun. We've had some really wonderful questions and wonderful people that have interacted with us. So this has been a blast.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed this, guys. Thank you so much for taking your time to come listen here with us today. Thank you so much for those who have backed our projects. It means so much to us. Thank you for those that have been along the journey and been sharing their comments and feedback along the way. We look forward to a lifelong relationship and entertaining you for many, many years in the future. So please share our project with a friend. That's the other greatest thing you can do to support us is just tell someone else, recommend it, say, hey, these guys are legit. They're not trying to swindle you. They are here in it. Their heart's wholeheartedly in it. And that would mean a lot to us. So thank you so much. I will post our recording up for anyone that would like to watch it, who doesn't have a chance to be here today. And we'll do another one of these again. Maybe a game playthrough for the next one if people are interested in that. So let us know what you'd like to see, and we will make it happen. Until the next time, this is Ross
and Kelly.
And thank you so much, and farewell.